Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello. Do you hear me well? Great. Hello, everyone. This talk will be a little bit experimental, but I hope you will like it. Dmitry, what is the first thing we should mention?
I think we should start from disclaimer, and I should say that all frameworks in this show are fictional.
Yep. Our speaking skills and probably programming skills are poor. Talking about us, my name is Artem.
And my name is Dmitry. So, Artem, I have a little pet project, and I would like to have a little review of this.
Sure, let's take a look.
All right, let's go. So, you can see that I'm use old lost sources, almost enterprise framework. Just don't focus on this. Looking for the data thing and to the render thing. Okay.
May I ask you one thing? So is it true that render function obviously returns some presentation of the component, and get data will call after the render, after the first call, and after promise is rejected or resolved, we call render one more again. Is it true?
Yes, it's true. And I choose this framework because it has only one defined way for getting the data.
But we should not focus on it.
Yeah, not focus on this.
OK, let's run it.
OK, let's run. Oops.
What's it?
It's 44.
Let me drill down.
Yes, let's check. It should be here and here.
A lot of services, Dmitry.
Yeah, layered architecture, almost enterprise, you know. Yeah, and yeah, fetch 44. I'm so sorry.
I noticed that you don't have any exception handling, do you?
Yes, I don't have here, but you know, when I'm also trying to have any exception handler, I have situation, you know, something like this.
Oh, OK.
And could you please help me with having the best exception handling?
Oh my God, the best.
The greatest one.
Such a complex question, Dmitry. I mean, you know, exception handling is always a discussionable part of any application. And during all of these years, you know, I've got a dream. I've got a dream about developer-friendly exception handling.
Nice. And could you please explain the parameters of your dream?
Sure. So it's just a checklist of properties for exception handling that I want really to have in any application. And I mean, the first thing I really want to see is actually distinction between exception and errors.
Sorry, I don't understand. Could you please explain what you're talking about?
Sure. So when I say exceptions, I mean some situations that are included in your business logic, right? So you expect them to have. For example, you're trying to log in with a login that is not existed in your system, right? And when I say error, I'm saying about situation when your application in invalid state. So there's some freezing, non-responsive application at all, some uncaught errors in console, and definitely you as a developer should be notified about such situation, right?
I've got it.
So let me continue. The next thing, I really want to have identical exception handling for sync and async code. I mean, definitely we are already here with async await syntax, but for some approaches, it's really a reasonable requirement.
And do you know, if it's possible, I would like to put one thing from my side. I would like to have some ability to have a lookup for error state when it was thrown from some point.
I'm not quite sure I understand you.
Super simple. Do you remember try catch block and a catch statement? I would like to have some lookup statement with catch parameter, but which will throw error from itself automatically.
Oh, I see. So it works like it is a catch, and just at the end of this block, we have implicit throw E.
Yep.
I like it. Let's add it. So to, I believe, our dream. Next thing, because TypeScript today is de facto standard, I really want to have types of my catch parameter, because it makes me really sad when I see like any or unknown for a catch parameter, and it will be super perfect if I can handle specific type of exceptions.
And you know, when we're talking about type, it's about DX also, and I would like to have nice code, and great DX will be great for IDEs also.
I mean, come on, it's an important part.
All right.
So what I propose to you, just start with a regular try catch.
Regular? Maybe you have any suggestion how we can improve it from the start?
You know, I have one. Do you know something about Node.js?
Just a little bit.
Our dear friend from Node.js, Ruben, had a talk about really nice topic, like how to improve your error handling in any application. He had a lot of useful tips, but I really want to highlight one related to, you mentioned that you have a lot of services, right, and layered architecture. So I really want to have, for each layer, its own hierarchy of exception. So when we are on network layer, I want to speak network language, like not found, bad request, etc., server error. And for user layer, I really want to have something like user not found, the mail is wrong, something like this. So let's do it.
All right, let's try it.
I mean, we have only 30 minutes. How you are going to implement all of these things in 30 minutes? I mean, is it possible even today?
Done.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
You are really fast.
Thank you so much. All right, now you can see that all is green, wonderful green. So render has correct states. Don't focus on this, focus on data.
Okay.
I added try catch, and you see that now the call of service wrapped. Okay. You can see that I added exceptions, correct, for, when we're working with authorization service, we have authorization exceptions.
Nice. Let's drill down.
Yeah. The same for user service, and also it speaks with user exceptions. Yeah, and in user service simple, and API service, we catch in the error, and we wrap this to network exceptions.
And what do you feel about it?
I can say that it has one amazing point.
Okay.
One but amazing. We have same, we can handle exceptions in the
a single way for synchronous way. Right. But I mean, a lot of cons, right? So still, we have a lot of boilerplate, like instance of, do not forget to return await, all of these things. Also, it's easy to lose return. Still, we don't have this awesome lookup. And I mean, still, we don't have no distinction between exception and errors because all of them throw statement. And I mean, also, we still have unknown static. I mean, literally unknown.
And do you know, I'm missing about one thing. I use Java to write a lot of HTML. Don't ask me why.
Okay.
But in Java, we have wonderful thing. We have declaration for exception which can be thrown from the method.
I'm not quite familiar with Java.
Don't look on public void and all this stuff. Look on the throws keyword and exception type. It means that if you work in this method, you should handle this exception.
Okay. I mean, it looks awesome. Let's add it to our dream. Yep.
So, do you have any suggestion how we can improve our current solution?
I mean, I literally want to solve firstly problem with static types. And we already mentioned it in Node.js, right? And you remember these old days with callback style. And definitely in TypeScript, it's much easier to type function arguments that catch parameter. So let's go back to those days and just use callback style.
Oh. All right, let's try to do it.
But you need to show the same speed as before.
Right. Done.
Oh my God.
You can see that all is green, states are correct.
Plain old promise wrapping.
Yeah, I'm missing for this. All right, but with this, we also now have signature. In signature of our method, we have exception.
Okay.
And also we have great type inference for exception. We work with this correct. I really like it. So in authorization service, the same thing with user service. In user service, the same thing with API service. And in API service, yes, we still use try catch for connection with low-level API. Unfortunately, we don't have callbackify stuff for fetch. And also, when we catch the error, we have distinction. It's between error and exception.
Okay.
It's not,
how does it look?
It's not. It's better to show here.
Okay.
So if we have any error here, it will be catched as unexpected.
I see. So because exceptions are in callbacks and our errors going through statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have different flow in callback way and in throw way.
So we're happy.
I would like to say yes. Now our types, our exception has types. Signature has great types for exception too.
Okay.
We have distinction between error handling and exception handling, and it's possible to work with exception in synchronous and asynchronous way.
Are you serious?
It's possible.
I mean, no. I mean, still a lot of boilerplate. I mean, also, it's not even callback hell if we don't put callback not only in async code, but also in sync code. I mean, I even don't know how to call it. And yeah, I mean, you also notice that we need to integrate our callback style with all standard library and also with third-party libraries from NPM. And also one important point I want to mention, that when we go in something non-standard way, we need to have some linter rules, custom linter rules, to help our team to follow this convention of exception handling. So I'm not sure that I like this approach so much.
All right, valid. Do you have any other ideas?
You know, I have one, Golang.
We're at the JavaScript conference. Why are you talking about this?
Yes, but you see, Golang has an interesting feature that function can return multiple values. And there is a convention that first return value is just a value that function regularly return. And the second is nil or exception that was thrown from function.
Okay.
Of course, JavaScript doesn't have this beautiful feature, but what if we just took tuple and the first element will be value of the function, and the second exception, something like this.
Go with not. All right, let's try.
Have I mentioned that you are so performant engineer?
Thank you so much. I'm appreciated. All right, render is okay. States are correct still. Yeah, and
looks a bit better, right?
Yeah, I think. Our method still have great signature with exception, and we have great type inference here, so all is correct.
Okay.
When we're working with user service, the same. We have great type inference for user. We have great type inference for exception. The same stuff in user service. And yes, in API service, we still should connect with low-level API, but we still have distinctions. So I would like to say that I really like this approach because no callbacks now, great types for exception, great signatures, distinction, and great for synchronous and asynchronous code. I think I'm happy with this.
I'm not quite happy, actually. I mean, still a lot of boilerplate, right? And I mean, I noticed something that our exceptions right now living in the same scope as other variables. And you know, one of the main challenge for any programmer is to invent a name for a variable. And I mean, could you just add another service call in your code?
So,
yeah, this is what I'm talking about. You see? You see? I mean, each time when you call service, you need to invent a name both for data and for exception. And we like force our dear teammates to face with this challenge again and again. Also, technically, it's a part of previous point, but still the tuple types are really noisy. I mean, you see, we need to write it like tuple data or null and exception type, and we need to write like this because it helps TypeScript to infer types in the right way. And still, we need some integration, you saw it, and still, we need some explicitly defined custom rules. So, no, this is not what I want, actually.
All right. You know, I have an idea about this. You don't like this signature because difficult typles, all this stuff. And if we look on this, we can see that we use null for having some difference between great scenario and not great scenario. So if we can try to wrap this in specific container, great scenario with OK container and not great scenario with failed container, and try to use containers for understanding which branch we are.
It definitely could help us to solve the problem with signatures, right? Let's try it.
OK, let's try. OK.
As usual, Dmitry.
I'm frustrated. All right, so you can see that all is green, stays correct, all right. Yeah, now when we call check authorization, signature, wonderful. We have a result from this, and when we have this, we can use instance of for understanding which branch we are. So the same stuff, I don't remember why I'm using promising here, but you know. Also, we have instance of for understanding where we are. Great stuff here. And also in API service, we still need to have connection with low-level API, but it's not super difficult. And we also have distinction. So I think we found a brilliant solution.
Really?
No arrays. wonderful types, wonderful signatures, distinction, and also great for synchronous and asynchronous approach. Brilliant, I think.
No. No.
Explain
Still a lot
why.
of boilerplate. I don't like all of this instance of. I don't like that we need to remember to wrap and unwrap data, all these union types. And I mean, you know, also I've noticed something. Because this new OK, new failet is actually the same as we rethrowing error, and we do not need to forget to make it. And it's, in some cases, it's really unsafe. I noticed one problem that you probably not. Does this code looks weird for you?
I don't know. I don't trust slides. Let's go to the IDE. It's authorization service, yep.
Right.
You can see that all is green.
No compilation error.
Okay, yeah, I think it's okay. I don't understand what you're talking about.
What is the type here?
Okay, void.
And failet. What's this?
Oops. Undefined.
Seems like we forgot to turn on types in our TypeScript.
Yes, a little bit. So
let's set strict mode.
So you would like to say that if we fix it a little bit with, it will...
A compilation error.
Yeah, nice.
So don't forget, please, to turn on strict mode. But still, for some approaches, you realize that if you can't turn on the strict mode by some reason, it's really unsafe for you. And still, I'm nagging a lot about it, but still, integration and still custom rules. But, you know, Eureka, miracle. You just invented Rust.
Wow.
At least it's approach for exception handling. So you see, this much is actually the same as we have in our instance of, and this OK and error, I mean, definitely as OK and failet. And you know, Rust is standing on the shoulders of giants, and inspired from a lot of ML languages like OCaml. So let me take a look on the another representative of ML language family, Haskell.
Oh.
I mean, here, this case input of the same as instance of. Right is OK, left is failet. And you know, Dmitry, we've just came to this word, starting with them, monad.
Oh, no. Now I'm totally love previous solution because I don't have PhD, I don't have higher education, I don't know math, I don't want to know this one stuff.
No panic, Dmitry, no panic. The only thing we need is to think about our monad as a class with a lot of really cool utility functions, you know? So imagine you have like either left failet, right OK, and it also came with a lot of useful methods. Let me actually show you. So, yep, I'm not as fast as you, so give me some time, please.
Hope?
Yes, and let me also open login component. Yep, here. So you see, maybe authorized in this case return either exception or data. Here, we're just checking is right. So it's encapsulated variant of our instance of, because, I mean, why right? Because data is obviously on the right side. If it was on left, I mean, definitely it's left. In the service, we have like also call that return user exception or user API model. And even here, I want to show you that even without strict mode, we can see that we don't have any strict mode here. We still have a really like nice static analysis, because imagine that I forget to handle exception in some way. Here, I expect him to speak authorization language, but exception here is user exception. Let me just forget to handle it. Voila, I have a compilation error. The same, I expect him to have here void, but I have like a user API model. Let me forget to handle it. Voila, I have like a compilation error. And to reduce a boilerplate, here, for example, we have the same data that returned. And I mean, if we don't need it, we don't need to handle it. We just handle only exception pass. And the same, here, network exception can be thrown. Let me just also forget to handle it. Also, compilation error, because network exception is definitely not user exception. And yeah, of course, we still have this glue code, you know, to make it work with all of the third-party libraries. And you know, I feel that actually we are there, we are here because we covered a lot of things from my dream. Firstly, I mean, it's pretty minimalistic and less verbose than previous solutions. We also hide all of the rethrowing, and if we don't need to rethrow, we just use some other method. And if we forget to rethrow something, we definitely will be notified by the compilers that we forgot something to do. I mean, also handlers contain statically types and signatures also. And yeah, there is still distinction between exceptions and errors, because exceptions are going to either, and errors are thrown by throw statement. And also, I mean, for sync and async code, it works also well, because either is just data, right? Just wrap it in promise and everything works fine. Of course, there are some cons. I mean, the biggest one I see is that perhaps your team might want to watch this talk. And yeah, but still we need to have some integration on the low level, and still we need some custom rules. So what do you feel about it?
Sounds interesting, but it's, you know, a conference demo where all is great. So, but what?
Am I great picture?
Yeah, and I would like to see how it works in production.
Okay.
You already mentioned my speed, so I added monads in production 5 years ago for this demo. So it's yeah, it's a closed source application from 2019. So
okay,
let's see how it looks like. Yes, it's pretty much difficult than demo.
And pretty old-fashioned with all of these observables, right?
Yeah, it's Angular. Sorry, it was Angular 8, 9 versions before Signals was introduced. For this reason, I use observables.
Reasonable.
All right. And you can see authorization service, and it calls API service. Looks the same, yeah.
Okay, but I mean, I see a lot of custom operators. Could you also explain them?
Yeah. When you talked to me about monad, I understood that I would like to try it, but, you know, I had this in production and not rewrite all production.
Okay.
I would like to add them incrementally. So for this reason, I just add some stuff for connecting my API service response to monad flow. So it's just simple Rx operator which use map Rx operator for transforming a response to either flow.
So you incrementally rework your code base service by service without all of the things rewrote.
Yeah.
Really smart, really smart.
And also I mentioned that Rx had map operator. I understood that it will be better to have some special operator for either, just for avoid some boilerplate.
Okay.
So I just added map either operator. You can see that it just transforms the data.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember lookup operator?
Yeah.
In Rx, we have tab operator for having some side effects.
Okay.
And, unfortunately, I used rudimental store for my states, and I used tab in Rx. So I added btab either operator for having ability to run some processes from both flow. If something goes correct in one way and something goes incorrect.
Okay, yep, I see. I mean, it looks okay-ish from the service perspective, but what about components?
Also nice. So you can see that it's typical Angular component with all Angular stuff, dependency injection, all this stuff. So, and it handled on try login event.
Okay.
So, and if it's okay, it calls API service, login method, and also have Rx pipe, and also tap either operator. In this case, I don't need handle exception way because it handles in another way. Just navigate to something. Sorry for naming, you know, it's difficult.
So we're happy. Dmitry, we happy?
Yes, we're happy, but also with this happiness, I would like to ask you, if we have this great approach and technique for handling exception with a lot of cons and props, why we don't use this as
it's a main approach,
it's a main approach, yes. Why we use try catch as the main approach in JavaScript and almost all mainstream languages?
I mean, Dmitry, you're asking a lot of complex questions today. I don't know. I mean, the only thing came into my mind maybe the long tradition of this try-catch solution, maybe since 60s, maybe since PL1 language when they introduced on command to catch, to have these handlers for exceptions. But you know, I'm really happy that not only we are looking on this approach. I mean, you definitely know that all of these like fancy libraries with functional programming in JavaScript, and not only in JavaScript, I mean, talking about Kotlin, there is result built-in standard library, but also a lot of libraries around, like Arrow, that also, you see, introduce this fancy either here. Not only Kotlin, Swift also, and they also have this result type, result/either inside standard library. So definitely there are two approaches to handle exceptions. Even moving closer to web, Chromium, inside their codebase, they also using, here you see expected, that actually even the same as either, but I mean, of course, in C++. Moving even more close to people, WebAssembly. There is an interesting proposal called component model. And inside, so this proposal is helping you to handle the next case. You have two or more different binaries, WASM binaries compiled from different languages. And you want to link them by somehow. And this proposal helps you to link them in a really high abstraction level, talking with lists, errors, strings, classes. And there is an interesting built-in. You see?
Yeah, something.
Yeah, I also have a demo as a homework for you that you can walking around how we're using this result to talk between Kotlin, Rust, and JavaScript. Yep, and yes, you see, not only we and JavaScript and not only other languages, we're all looking for some other solutions. Maybe right now not built in, but maybe, who knows, maybe in some future.
All right, but in the end, I would like to say that yes, after these moments, I think that monad is not scary, monad either.
Okay.
I don't know about other monads, but either are not scary.
Maybe for other talk, maybe.
Okay. It can be used without PhD. It's possible.
You don't have one.
Yeah, don't have PhD, higher education, all this stuff. All right, monads can be useful in JavaScript too.
Okay.
With Rix, Angular, and all this stuff, it works really great in production.
It solves your issues.
Yeah,
right?
and solves my issues. So, Artem, thank you so much for showing me this wonderful approach.
Thank you, Dmitry, for listening to my nagging. And thank you for being with us this half of hour.
Also, special thank you to Alexey Fedorov for giving access for closed source. Losha, thank you so much.
I mean, for nowadays, a bit not so closed source, right? Because we've shown it's just today.
A little bit open. All right. You can find all links from the talk with demos, not with closed source, sorry, but with all links from talk.
Yep, in this GitHub repo. And also here you can find an NPM package with a lot of sweet monads, including either.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely time.
Yes! Keep it going, y'all! Keep it going! Woo! Awesome! How about those delicious sweet monads, huh?